We do know that in hunters, like hunter groups, like packs, specific packs, like let's say the wolf pack, there is sort of that howling mechanism, some sort of social interaction that's happening when you get that howl. And we did a whole show on that, sort of the wolf aspect of, why it's so terrifying to hear a howl in the forest when you're just, you yourself kind of out there and the sun's starting to go down and you hear a lone wolf howl. Is it a lone wolf, or is it sort of the pack setting up a kill, and maybe you are that kill, right? Pretty much terrifying. But beyond that, there's the pack instinct of in the pack. Let's say one wolf howls, and then they all start to howl, right? It's that whole bit. But in this case, I mean, the yawning, like I said, seems to be one of those things that it doesn't have a ton of benefit. Of course, oxygen to the brain, as we said, a lot of really weird stuff with this. But the problem is, what's up? Sounds great. Appreciate the sound checks, guys. Let me know if anything's weird. Like I said, I'm trying to adjust this stuff. I know I need to breathe, but I'm trying to cut all my breath out of this thing. There's so many buttons on this that I've been messing around with it, so I went back to just the super basics. So if I sound particularly like I'm slobbering on the microphone, I want to know, please, so I can fix it. Anyway, so I appreciate the sound checks. Thank you. Okay. But back to the wolves and the howling, okay? A wolf howls, a bunch of wolves start howling along, okay? And that's a very, very specific thing. Probably, again, locked into their hunting instinct and maybe, again, setting up the kill. Maybe even just possibly howling at the moon, as we've described this in the past. Who knows what's really happening with that, because, nobody really speaks wolf just yet. But we do have some theories. We do have some ideas, and that's good. Like I said, theories and ideas are good because it's what I thrive on. It's why I'm here, and it's what I like to do, just kind of consider theories a little bit off the beaten path, which is fine, at least by my standards. But anyway, yeah, it's fine. Everything's going to be fine. But anyway, so back to yawning. Now, the same thing sort of applies, because even if, let's say, one person yawns in a group, then we have everybody kind of picking up on it as a state of that, like meaning that one person's tired, yawns in a group, and suddenly everybody, you've all seen it, you've all done it, maybe you guys did it today, and suddenly everybody's yawning together. It's just bizarre, whether you're tired or not. It makes no difference to the aspect, but we've determined that yawning is a sort of a mechanism of being tired, but it doesn't matter whether you're tired or not. You still yawn along with the pack or whatever's going on, which is incredibly strange. So I do wonder if again, kind of going down the maybe juice threshold here of what else could be happening. There's a lot of things to consider. Specifically, what about possible hand gestures? Like I said, what about our posture, our cadence of speech, the things we say? Like that type of stuff is pretty obvious to me that we mimic each other in a lot of ways, and it is part of that social just learning, us being together and sort of learning to be humans. It's like this too. And this is incredibly basic, so forgive me for the non-troubled minds bit as we start here. But if you take a puppy that's been removed from the pack, okay, and then you put the puppy in the pack, suddenly this puppy learns to be a dog almost instantly. Like if all the pack is potty trained and they're inside and out of the house, this little puppy knows exactly what to do almost immediately, because he or she just follows the lead of the big dog, right? The big dogs and the older brothers and sisters and this type of thing. Well, the same thing affects us as people as we learn. It's not just, again, the interaction with our parents and the social interaction we get around us. We start to mimic others in this exact same manner, meaning that I think we could probably have, dare I say, a immersive how to be a human program that you put babies into, right? I mean, something like that. Not saying we should put babies in camps, don't misquote me on that, but you know what I mean, right? Something to that effect. I barely hear breathing, just a little bit. Okay, ears are sensitive, all good. Okay, I'll let me push this button here and let's see if I can adjust. How about we adjust the sparkle just a little bit, and that seems to have some effect on the noise gate. Anyway, there we go. All right, sparkles up a little bit. Okay, anyway, so again, don't quote me on putting babies in camps. That's not what I said. Basically like a daycare, like a behavioral daycare where maybe babies are there and they're moving, they're mobile, they're crawling around and stuff and looking at things. And but I do wonder if you kind of put like a bunch of well-behaved children in there, older children, 6, 7, 8 years old, kind of, maybe through like a little gate, kind of like a dog park, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm equating babies to dogs. Okay. All right. Chill out. It's a good analogy because we're talking about social etiquette advocate in learning in this type of thing. But I do wonder if there was something like this that we would get, sort of a super learning boost from these, babies that are given access to sort of this social program, let's say, that is lined up to make them, faster learners on how to be human, how to get along with each other, how to share demeanors and maybe cadence of speech. I don't know. Just like I said, just an idea of an experiment, not rounding up babies and putting them in camps. Okay, dear God, stop with that, people. But you get what I mean, though, right? The same thing applies to pretty much any mammal, as far as we're aware, that the social aspect is locked into us because of the mimicry that happens when we're very, very young and impressionable. It's good. It's a good thing. Okay, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not making a grotesquerie here of the babies. The babies are great. I love babies, and that's that, right? That's that. I'm not trying to say let's experiment on children, but you get what I mean. A thought experiment, okay? But I think in the same sense, we're doing this to each other. So not just as we learn to sort of function, I think we're always refining our patterns of behavior. I think we're always refining what we learn and what we're trying to actually build into whatever comes next, the next version of ourselves. We're sort of adopting ideas from other people. We're sort of adopting everything that we're doing together and trying to build whatever person, Mike Strange, tomorrow's version, whatever comes next. Okay. And sometimes it's not so linear like that. Maybe it's a memory of something that kind of creeps up on you or something to that effect. I don't really know. But anyway, so that's what's on my mind tonight as we get going here. And there's a lot of ways to consider this. Like I said, cadence of speech, we mimic each other in a lot of different ways. Itchiness is another one. Think of this like kind of in the most basic sense, the sensation of itching, even if triggered by something physical, could spread via possibly maybe something called mirror neurons, or maybe we live in a quantum system and we have sort of an entanglement aspect, or again, Rupert Sheldrake, the morphic resonance, things like this. There's a lot of really weird things happening within this aspect of things. And this also brought to mind when I was thinking of this, the yawning and the contagion and the social contagion, and us kind of being locked into it as this like tribalist, just group of bloodthirsty warmongers that humans are. Sounds fine on Discord. Just got a new headset. Sounds very on point. Thank you. I'll just keep adjusting. Like I said, if basically you should hear my voice, but you should not hear my breath. Okay. Yes, I'm breathing. Okay. I am breathing. I'm alive. I'm actually not an AI. I'm actually a human person, if you can believe that. But anyway, okay. So that puts us, let's see, what about another one? How about eye twitches, facial tics, things like this? And again, mirror neurons is a term I made up. It's not something I think is in science. It's something that maybe, just maybe, where we live in a quantum system somehow. And maybe maybe it's not even physical. Maybe the quantum system is our actual consciousness. And so as part of it, maybe again, notice all the maybes because I don't really know and it's just ideas, but it's possible that we're actually dealing with this in a sort of back and forth sense of what is it? Call and answer, kind of like that. Okay, so somebody does something, and then other people sort of follow. And of course, you can see how this worked in the past with colts and with, of course, hunting packs, like we're describing with wolves. And again, as we kind of learn and grow up in the social hierarchy of whatever we are. Some of you out there may be dogs. I mean, shout out the dogs if you're out there listening. Ow, ow, ow. I don't really know, right? Meaning maybe you left your radio on and there's a dog listening. I don't know. That's a bad joke, but you get what I mean. But anyway, okay. So, and it got me thinking about how far back this goes. So if this is happening with yawns and some other things, I do wonder about, let's say, hand gestures. Let's say, for instance, if somebody makes a fist, okay, and so when they're speaking, right? And we've seen this a lot with sort of political types, okay? And again, I don't have to tell you who I'm talking about. There's a very specific individual that comes to mind when you speak forcefully and shake your fist while you're doing it, okay? But there's a whole bunch of other people that do it as well, in, let's say, less trying times even. And I do wonder if there is something built into us, as I'm calling this maybe vestigial pack instinct and this social contagion that may be built into us from that DNA memory, from our epigenetics in some sense. And so maybe making a particular gesture as you speak forcefully stirs up some primordial, let's say, rage in somebody, in people, real in whatever, right? And this is the type of stuff that we could only really unlock with some really, really specific science to kind of unlock what this looks like. And I mean, but then of course we'd have to test different hand gestures for, scientific accuracy. And is this real? Is this not? Are people responding to that? Are they responding to the words? I mean, there's a lot to kind of break down there. And I think that's why, as usual, being human is so incredibly complicated. But then also why I'm always talking about these control mechanisms, because I think all this stuff is happening all around us all the time. We're influenced by things that we could never even imagine are real. And suddenly we start doing things without realizing we're doing these things because of some maybe hidden sign language, some hidden primordial sign language that's built into everything we're doing as humans in the modern sense. And I don't know, it does seem like maybe there's something else built in here, but it does not make any sense that when somebody yawns as a result of being tired and getting oxygen to their brain, that other people around them also yawn when they're not needing that in the moment, right? So what the hell is going on here? And that's exactly what is on my mind tonight. It gets weird. It gets really weird when you kind of think about how far back this goes. And the vestigial pack instinct. And maybe we're sort of locked into this so hard and it's so deep in us that maybe it even goes into the show last night with some of that doom stuff we were talking about. Maybe this is all built in. Maybe it comes pre-packaged and we're going to need thousands of years to kind of shake these ideas out. But I think, again, as a glass half full type of guy and a lover of people and humans and humanity and the light of consciousness and the known universe and all that, maybe just maybe this is something that we need. Maybe science needs to unlock these social cues and these social ideas that influence us in the worst ways. Because imagine that. If you could actually find out very specific kind of subconscious triggers, body language specifically, or different ways of doing things that were cited, easily replicated scientifically, and then suddenly we could sort of avoid these things and even sort of iron out these habits at a young age. And again, not to the babies in camps, stop with that crazy idea. It was just a thought experiment, okay, of sort of the social interaction of growing up and what that means and how you learn things. But I do wonder if eventually this type of thing could be ironed out, and maybe, just maybe, we could iron out the tribalist instinct within us and the cheering the demise of our enemies like we're always in the Roman Colosseum. It's absolutely absurd. Anyway, so that's where my mind's at tonight. I think that probably puts us about where we need to be. But of course, remember, this is a conversation. I could ramble on into the night. I do talk too much, by the way. Just as two things on that. I'm an introvert, but really, honestly, but I do talk too much because I am forcing myself. It was part of the lesson for myself to overcome ideas coming from my head to my mouth in real time, and also sort of overcoming the social aspect of that need to exclude yourself because you were uncomfortable. Okay. So, yeah, I am an introvert that talks too much, but welcome to Troubled Minds. I'm also a lovable curmudgeon. I've heard that before. I really love the term. Give or take lovable curmudgeon, as you will. But that's the deal. That's what I'm talking about tonight. That's what's on my mind. And so here I am talking a lot, but of course, there's a conversation with you. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. And let's play this. Let's do this. Let's go like, I don't know, how about that button right there? That's the one we want. Yeah, so a ritualistic holdover, I'm calling this. And yawning is the first part. How deep does this go, and how weird does this get? How far back into the human lineage, and are we still doing this to each other by speaking forcefully with our fist or some other, let's say, esoteric body language? Well, I'm going to give it a good solid maybe to start, because it seems like that yawn mirror aspect doesn't do a lot for us. Or maybe it does.